Yo, welcome back, guys. Hope you're doing really well today. So, I got a cool comment in the last video for the barrel roll that looks like this. And it was really a comment that made me stop and think. And I just want to talk about it, really. And it's kind of the philosophy behind yo-yo. And I think that it's one of those things that we as yo-yoers, we don't really think about too much, but we kind of just know just from doing it. And it's really like, what makes yo-yoing fulfilling? Why do we yo-yo in the first place? Why is it fun to us? And to the outside world, why does it's very hard to explain what it really feels like to be good at yo-yoing to someone that never has thrown a yo-yo in their life, or to someone that has just walked a dog or have done rock the cradle. It's really hard to relate that experience and that sense of flow and mastery that you get from learning a couple tricks and really mastering them. And so I was really thinking about this, and I think one of the reasons that even amongst the community that we don't really have a good way to teach or to really to get in there about the finesse, the finesse of when it comes to yo-yoing. And when I talk about finesse, let me just give you a quick example. So there's a mount called a double or nothing, and it looks like this, right? Or let's use the Houdini mount. It looks like this. Now I can go in and I can throw a basic Houdini mount, but then I can make it even smoother, and I can make it look better if I just bring my hands together when it's down here, right here, and then pull them apart like this. And now what I have is this really seamless, if I can land it, this really cool looking, just that little movement, this lengthening and then this shortening that almost looks, in my mind, like a violin, like like the violin thing. So this is your regular Houdini mount. Now if I do this though, just like that, it looks much better. One of my favorite tricks, well, I could say a trick that reminds me of an instrument. Every time I do it, I think of an instrument, is this. But the main part of that trick is just the beginning. So you're starting in a basic trapeze, but instead of landing right here, you're actually landing way further here. Then you're kind of just doing this like clothesline, this slow opening, and then you're taking this slack and you're just bringing it around like that. Okay. Now I didn't really show that off. That looked pretty terrible. But here, let me just show you this beginning. So it goes like this. Comes up here. You take your arms out. You're bringing them out like this, and then you're taking this slack. You're throwing it around. Okay, that's part of that trick. Looks very beautiful. It feels very good. So what I'm saying is, when you start to learn different things, you're going to have your own finesse. You're going to put there's certain things that not even I can explain. That's actually the difficulty in teaching yo-yoing, is because when I'm trying to show you a barrel roll, I've done this move 1,000 times, minimum, minimum. So it feels a lot different than you doing it the first time. And part of what you just need to do in yo-yoing is just keep going and practice. And you're going to understand it. Once you understand a trick fully and you get the rough draft, right? Then you're going to be able to iron it out, smooth it out, and add your own style and flair and finesse. So among the yo-yoing community, what I find is that we really have no terms, or we really have no vocabulary or language for yo-yoing. The best that we have is a couple of mounts, your double or nothing, or trapeze and his brother, your Houdini mount, because it disappears. You have your 1.5. I mean, there's a lot of different stuff. You have chopsticks mount, kind of looks like chopsticks. Countless others. You know, just stuff you don't even have to start with a basic mount. I mean, like, what is this? I don't know what this is called. I'm just crossing my arms coming like this, right? So there's really no language. Whereas in music, you can learn to read music. You can learn there's a chord A, there's a chord B, but then there's also scales. There's also various archipelagos, or however you would say. So we know that yo-yoing is not an instrument, but I believe it's far more than a toy, and that's not me just romanticizing this little thing. It's actually much more than that, I believe. But it doesn't make noise unless you have a shit bearing. So what is it? It's kind of in its own category, a skill toy. But when you really start to get in there, what you see, this kind of is, as I'm thinking about it, you see that you're really learning stories. And tricks are just like learning stories. So, for instance, we have given some, that's why even the mounts sound like stories, the Houdini mount, right? Because it disappears like Houdini does in a magic trick. The trapeze, like someone walking on a trapeze, an acrobat, trapeze and his brother going around twice, right? Solar flare, just some cool things. There's countless other chopsticks, looks just like chopsticks, how I said. So we take that language, and then what you're going to realize is when you learn these tricks, you're learning stories. There's a beginning, there's a middle, and an end. When I first learned an advanced trick, it was like the first kind of advanced techie trick. It was called rancid milk. And when I learned this trick, my mind was blown. I actually think I forgot how to do it. Let me try to do just a little. You go like this, go like this, go like this. It's like a triple trapeze, okay? Like you're going around 3 times. And then what he does is he pops it on here. He goes like this. He comes around here. And then you're back to here. You pop it on this string. You go up. But if you go watch Rancid Milk after this video, I watched someone do that in slow motion. And it blew my mind. Because this is what he starts with. This, a yo-yo and string. And it's like, how in the world is he creating something that flows that well from just a piece of metal and a string? And you'll notice that everyone tells different stories. In yo-yoing, you're going to have your own style, and it's really about going into a mount, usually when you start getting into a mount, and then from here you're trying to create something out of this mount. So here's a trick that tells a great story. And maybe it's not that yo-yoing is telling stories. Maybe it's just how we remember the tricks through a story. But I learned this trick from, what's his name? Anthony Davis, I believe. Anthony Davis, really good thrower, has a great flow. And it's more of a modern trick. So it starts out here. And I'm going to just do it. I'm going to try to do it fast. Let's just do it so it looks good. So here. And I messed it up. Almost got it for you guys. It ends in a green triangle, but that's one of my favorite tricks, and it just is like so unique to a lot of different tricks that you see. Firstly, because it starts in this mount that is like a trapeze on your throw hand. Now you don't really see that much, but then you also have this where you come in and you're going here, you're taking your thumb and you're underpassing here. You're gonna pop it in between here, circle around, and then this is another underpass right here, and I messed up. That's okay. You guys get the idea. So what I'm saying is that yo-yoing is more of a way, it's like learning stories. Every trick is going to tell you a new story, and you're going to start seeing what you like, because there's tricks that when you're trying to create a trick, if it looks jarring, well then you gotta go a different way. You gotta go a different route because, well, you want to tell a better story with that trick. And there's styles that you just won't like because the story that they tell is just it's all over the place. Maybe the beginning is cool, but maybe the middle is very awkward. It seems a little too forced. And so there's actually a yo-yoing that makes me mad. A lot of yo-yoing that has a ton of slack will actually just get on my nerves. I find it like annoying. I'm not saying that to sound pretentious or anything, but that's literally just the feeling I get. I'm like I'm watching it and I can understand it, but it almost seems like there's a lot. I see what's really cool is like people doing a lot of double slacks these days, um, which can be done very well, and it takes a lot of skill. It just seems like almost I like more flowy stuff. Okay, I like when tricks flow and less of just trying to do slack for the sake of slack, which I see a lot of people doing. So yeah, or maybe just like it bounces all over the place. Anyway, so that's it. And I think another reason why a lot of these bangers are tricks that people find really cool. Like for instance, this by no means is a hard trick. Like the finger spin, there's no story here, man. It's just spinning on top of my finger, right? It's not that hard. So to me, it's like people will get mind blown when they see that. But for someone that's been yo-yoing for a while, I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but there's nothing there. It's so basic. And so a lot of these, same thing with Eli hops. Like people will love this all day because it's really big, it's dramatic, it's kind of like a very showy. But it's not. There's no story there. It's just like it's just like a cool little thing that you see. So what you're doing is learning these stories, and when the finesse that you're going to acquire. This is really what I'm going to sum up this video with. You're going to get mastery and finesse when you learn your story very well, when you understand the tricks that you're making very well, when they have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and then you are going to just iron them out and make them even smoother by maybe applying a little bit more, a little bit, like giving it a little bit more hang time instead of just landing right here. See how I just did that? A little bit more onto that back string. Just like that. That's it. This is how the trick looks. It goes over here, boom, right? And this nice pop, and just, you're going to get your own flow, okay? So keep that in mind. Learn the tricks well, and after you do them over and over, your mind will pick up on little things that you can do better to make it flow. Maybe it's just tilting, rocking a little bit, adding a little bit more pressure with your throw hand or your non-throw hand. Yeah, that's really just all it is. Like for instance, you can get into chopsticks by landing on the trapeze and then go here, or you can just go in the air, not even land on the trapeze, and just like get into that right there, okay? So just like this. That's simple. See, I didn't even touch this string. And just that one seamless motion, now boom, I'm into that trick. I'm into that mount. Whereas some people will go like this. They'll start here, they'll pop it up, and then go into it, all right? So just keep practicing. And another thing, when you're trying to end the trick, it's like, well, you don't always want to land in some green triangle, That's boring. You're going to end up in there all the time. It's like, it gets a little old, but you will figure things out. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what your thoughts on, just finesse and mastery and the lack of vocabulary that we have in the yo-yo community. And by the way, make sure you get in the Facebook group. I'd love to see you guys there. We're doing a cash prize challenge when we hit 30 people. So I hope to see you in there, all right? I'll talk to you soon. Peace.